All right, so I just grabbed this off the internet, but this is kind of like a sketch like you might have. So I thought it's a nice example because it could be cropped, etc. So you'll go ahead and open up you can see that this is just a pencil sketch. So this person's taken a photograph of it. It's on a desk. And they've got, some elements on here that are unfinished, and then probably this one maybe is a little bit more finished. So we'll focus on this one. All right, so the first thing I would do is I would just go ahead and crop so you can get rid of this little top section. And if you know, for instance, that you don't want the other half of the image, you could go ahead and crop that completely off. So like if you're like, I only want to work with this piece, you could go ahead and just right off the bat crop that. If you want to keep it all, you can, of course. But I'll go ahead and crop this because let's say like I definitely don't want that one over there, and maybe I don't want this one either. So I'll just crop to here. All right, so one quick thing you can do is if we just go ahead and make this like pure black and white, I think that gives you a nice like base layer to work with. And if you're gonna move into Illustrator, this is also really helpful as well. So you're gonna make sure that your colors are set to default black and white. You can hit the little D, I think it's D on the keyboard, and then X to switch between them. But you just want default black and white. And then there's a super easy filter. You probably don't use filters a ton in Photoshop because a lot of them can look pretty cheesy, but I think there's one filter in here that's very helpful. So if you go down to Filter Gallery, it's going to open up this other window, and do look through glowing edges. That actually doesn't look that bad. It's kind of cool. That could be a nice basis for an artwork. I'm going to go here to the one that says Sketch though, and I like using this stamp filter. So there's a stamp filter, and you can go ahead and play with your smoothness, the dark and light balance. You can see that's bringing in more and more of the details. So I think I'm going to go pretty much as high as I can, and I can say okay, and you can see right away this is like something that I can then work with here in Photoshop. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe take my white paintbrush now. I'm going to do it on a new layer. I'm just going to grab the white. So I'm going to hit X on my keyboard, and I'm going to get my hard paintbrush, and maybe I'll get rid of some of this stuff. Like maybe I don't want this text here. So I'll go ahead and just paint over that. I don't want that. And maybe I just want to completely get rid of this. Again, I'm just using my white paintbrush. Oh, my flow's down. I was wondering why it's taking forever. Oh, let me turn my smoothing down too. All right, there we go. So I've cleaned this up. Maybe there's a few little artifacts here. And I'll go in and maybe even clean this up. Clean this up. All right, and so this is something that maybe now I'm going to take as my base layer. So now I'm going to open up a new piece of paper, and I'll go ahead and just get print. Maybe I'm going to make an 8 by 10 or a 16 by 20, whatever it is. I'll do an 8 by 10. And I'm going to take this now. I'm going to, save this. I'll probably save this as a JPEG, but instead of saving it as a JPEG, I'm going to do a little shortcut and say Shift Control Alt E, and that gives me a composite layer. So that's Shift Control Alt E, and now I can take this, and maybe I'll just select this portion. I'm going to copy with Control C, paste with Control V. I can Control T this around, and maybe now I'm going to start coloring in my butterfly or doing something here with it. All right, so I like that. So let's say I wanted to hand color this. I could then make a new layer in Photoshop. I'm going to make a layer underneath. So let me go ahead and just give myself a solid color. So let's say maybe I want like a nice light blue. And I'm going to change this right here to multiply. All right, and now I can add another layer in between this, and I can take my brush and I can just like start adding some color. Okay, maybe I want to, add some green here on these little dots, etc. I'm not going to take too long. You get the point. Let me do like one more. Maybe I want to, I don't know, do something here, etc. But that's how you can add some color, okay? I'm going to go back to this image right here. And if you want to go over to Illustrator to make an artwork, this is a great starting point as well. So I'm just gonna take this image here and I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna go into Illustrator. And all right, my Illustrator people, go ahead and actually everybody look up here because I don't think you've done this in Illustrator before. So guys, everybody look up. I'm gonna open a piece of paper. This is my sketch here. Oh, create, what's happening? Go, create. All right, so I'm going to paste in my image that I've already messed with in Photoshop. I made it black and white. All right, oops, here I am in Illustrator. All right, so everybody look up here. Here's my image that I made in Photoshop. Again, all I did was I took the sketch and I basically applied this stamp filter. So filter gallery, if you weren't paying attention, you can definitely go back and look. But I added this stamp filter on black and white. Okay, and then I'm pasting it into Illustrator. And now I'm gonna use what's called image trace. So look up here, because you probably have never used this and it's such a shortcut in Illustrator. You're gonna go up to Window, and it's called image trace. And it's basically gonna take whatever you have and it's gonna vectorize it. So I'm gonna it opens up this box, this dialog box. Make sure you click the word preview. And then I'm gonna click this little thing that says advanced. And I'm gonna click the button that says ignore white. So if you're not seeing all these options, drop down advanced, ignore white. It's gonna drop out the white. And I have this threshold, paths, corners. You're gonna play with these sliders. So I'm gonna go ahead and just rotate my image here and zoom in a little bit. And the reason I like to take it off my artboard is so I can make sure that it's actually transparent. But it doesn't really matter where you have it. So you can play with these threshold sliders. And what it's doing is it's vectorizing your drawing. So you'll see here in just a moment. I'm gonna go ahead and play with all my corners. You can play with your sliders. Make sure that you say ignore white. And when you're happy with it, you're going to say, oh, what is it? Let's see, here we go. I've traced it. Oh, now I'm forgetting. Oh, expand, object expand. And then I'm gonna say okay. And you can see now it is right here, vector. So I've vectorized this image now for Adobe Illustrator. And again, I can still, move this around, transform it, make it bigger, smaller. And I can, if you want to get rid of certain areas or move things around, you're just going to right click and say ungroup. Okay, so let's say I want to ungroup this. And now maybe I'm going to play around with this. For some reason, you have to ungroup it twice. I don't know why. But ungroup, and now I have this point, and let's say I can copy paste this. So maybe now I'm going to go and add some more of these around. And maybe I'll make this one a little bit bigger. But now this whole thing is just a vector. Okay? So super easy to vectorize something, right? I'm going to alt drag these, right click, transform them. What do I need to do? Reflect them or rotate? Reflect. Okay. There we go. So you can see that I've created now this vectorized image that I can now still go play with. Okay? So lots of things you can do. Again, that starting sketch looked like, let me get it again. Okay. Okay. It just looked like this. Okay? So we've gotten to this point in Illustrator. And we got to here. Where did I? Oh, I got rid of the things in Photoshop. I guess I got rid of the color. Sorry. But as you can see, you can apply color. So if you want to do color, you're going to do multiply. And then that's where you can add your color layers underneath just with your brush. Okay?